This is the History of Portugal podcast, an Eat to My Own Beat podcast. New episodes every Friday. Check us out on our Facebook page, the History of Portugal podcast, on YouTube, as well as my website, www.eattomyownbeat.com. Welcome back to the History of Portugal, episode 119. The County of Portugal. The County of Portugal, documents of the period Portugalia, refers to two successive medieval counties in the region of Guimarães and Porto, today corresponding to littoral northern Portugal, within which the identity of the Portuguese people formed. The first county existed from the mid-9th to mid-11th centuries as a vassalage of the Kingdom of Asturias and the Kingdom of Galicia, and also part of the Kingdom of Leon, before being abolished as a result of rebellion. A larger entity under the same name was established in the 11th century and subsequently elevated by its count in the mid-12th century into an independent Kingdom of Portugal. The first county. The history of the County of Portugal is traditionally dated from the reconquest of Portus Cale, or Porto, by the Vimera Perez in 868. It was named a count and given control of the frontier region between the Limia and Douro rivers by Alfonso III of Asturias. South of Douro, another border county would be formed decades later, when what would become the county of Coimbra was conquered from the Moors by the Hermenegildo Guterres. This moved the frontier away from the southern bounds of the county of Portugal, but was still subject to the repeated campaigns by the Caliphate of Cordoba. Recapture of the Coimbra by Almanzar in 987 again placed the county of Portugal in the southern frontier of the Leonese state for most of the rest of the first county's existence. The regions to its south were only again conquered in the reign of Ferdinand I of Leon and Castile, while Lamego falling in 1057, Viseu in 1058, and finally Coimbra in 1064. The leaders of the first county of Portugal reached the height of its power in the late 10th century, when Count Gonzalo Menendez may have been used the title Magnus Dux Portucellianus, or the Grand Duke of Portugal, and his son Monendendo used the title Dux Magnus, or Grand Duke. It could have been this Count Gonzalo who assassinated Sancho I of Leon after inviting the king to banquet and offering him a poison apple. Not all historians, however, believe that Gonzalo Menendez was responsible for the king's death, and some attribute the regicide to a contemporary count named Gonzalo Munoz. In the late 960s, Gonzalo's lands were ravaged by Vikings, and in 968 he fell out with King Ramiro III over the latter's refusal to fight the raiders. His son Menendo had close relations with Ramiro's rival successor, Bermudo II, being made the king's alferez and tutor of his son. The future king Alfonso V, following Alfonso's succession, Menendo would serve as a regent for the boy king and married him to one of Menendo's daughters. The counties continued with varying degrees of autonomy, with the Kingdom of Leon and during brief periods of division, the Kingdom of Galicia until 1071, when Count Nuno Menendez, desiring greater autonomy for Portugal, was defeated and then killed in the Battle of Pedroso by King Garcia II of Galicia, and then proclaimed himself the Kingdom of Galicia and Portugal. The first time a royal title was used to reference to Portugal. The independent county was abolished, its territories remaining within the Crown of Galicia, which was in turn subsumed with larger kingdoms of Garcia's brothers, Sancho II and Alfonso VI of Leon and Castile. Thank you for listening to the History of Portugal podcast, a Eat to My Own Beat podcast. New episodes every Friday.
Get more information on the History of Portugal podcast on Facebook, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. Check out www.eattomyownbeat.com for more information on our travels.